people going there have a sense of privilege because there are some who are not allowed to enter. Now, this is the question I want to ask you: is not getting into details of the centuries of problems we have regarding this. Just the fact that uh, if religion, organized religion, is not making you a better individual, more inclusive, more compassionate, more responsible towards bringing a sense of equal opportunity, if not equality itself. Equality, I think, is too utopian a concept to have. But yeah, the attempt to go there, if that is also not happening, and you are happy with just the privilege of going and performing a few rituals, and individually you have demarcated we are this and they are that, and whoever we and they are, how does religion play a role? And how would you put it in the context, Rajita, for yourself, where you have made it very individual? But we live in a society. At some point, if a call is being taken where, say, a neighbor is facing a problem of this kind, he or she is at the receiving end of uh, organized religions limitations.
Mhm.
How would you take a call on that? And if that person is close to you, for example, and they are affected by it, uh, how would you use your wisdom, which you have through, say, daily prayer or daily spirituality or whatever beliefs or actions that you take? Do they help you take a call on that?
When it comes to helping others, I don't see how religion would play a role. So, what do you can you clarify the bit on
Yeah.
if somebody is facing distress due to organized religion?
Okay.
I
So
didn't understand that.
I will. I'll just take that example forward. Suppose I am you have access to a temple in your neighborhood that you can go to, and you are not going because you have a choice. I want to
All right.
go to the same temple, my surname or whatever. I don't know how the system functions, but more or less, I am not being allowed to go there for any reason, and I am quite distressed by it. Now, I want to clarify. I don't want to be a flag-bearing individual on this one. I want to know the inner processes, what happened to us as individuals. The entire exercise of this discussion is more on that. So, what would happen to you if I were to ask you? Suppose you're very close to me, you're a good friend of mine, and I tell you I'm quite distressed about it. How would you help me make my peace with it? And maybe I do not buy into your spirituality argument. I want to belong to that sect of people who go and do the ritual. What is it that you will be able to tell me that will give me solace or that will help me at that point of time?
I don't think I can really convince people on a religion especially because this is as I said, it's something very individual, and I don't think I have a mission to accomplish by telling others to follow a certain path. That's where I think the difference lies. Like Anand said, we shouldn't be imposing our views on anybody. And I don't think I would be able to provide any kind of solace because then I don't know how I would let you enter the temple because certain things might not be in my hands. But I would probably, if not spirituality, philosophy. You read different kinds of texts and you try to take help from them and get through life with that because a lot of philosophies also you derive spirituality from philosophy, and when you're reading certain texts and stuff it comes to you in a natural way. So I would probably encourage you to read different things.
Anand, you want to answer that? Do you have a different answer to the question?
I agree with Rajita in the sense that you can't really think. Not everything is in your hands. So if you really want to belong to a certain sect, I can't really be the authority by telling you that you are the one who can enter the temple or whatever. But what I do is try and adopt a more rational approach, and I'll tell you if something's distressing you. I'd say visiting a counselor will do you. much more good than visiting any holy site of worship, and that your money that you give to the counselor rather than this establishment will be put to much better use.
Okay. I would want to then perhaps clarify the question a little more. Uh, it's not so much about going to the temple. That is a manifestation, if I were to understand people's need for organized religion to start with. I think, would you not talk to that person is grieving and he is your friend? So I am more concerned about that. Now the manifestation of the grief happens to be something that you do not believe in. That does not take away the fact. It's like friends who are going through personal problems or relationship issues or job issues at this point of time. If they come and talk to you, I think it's fairly easy for both of you to say that you do not have an answer. Would you not want to sit with them and if they've come to you for help, suppose we even cover all the bases in that sense. At that point, Rajita, I like the fact that you build on the philosophy thing. I think that is a bit of an answer. Read something more. Um, on that sense, Anand, how would you pick this up?
if if a friend comes to me and
And he is facing this
if
problem, and it means a lot. I wanted to appreciate there are centuries of um, discrimination that has happened to a lot of people in the world. Um, we saw that in a different context in the Black Lives Matter movement, where I remember I posted a poem on Facebook which was appreciated a lot. It went a little viral, if I were to call it that, and I called the whole theme was all lives matter kind of thing. This is before people started segregating the two issues, saying it's not the same thing. You haven't gone through, you don't understand what it is about. And I did appreciate, okay, maybe there is a point of view. So the person who's come to you, Anand, is dependent on that expression. So see a counselor, I think, is a little heartless way of talking to him or her. Is there anything that can be said? I like what she's opened up with the philosophical part of it. What would you do then?
uh I don't know. I mean, this is from a very personal point of view, but if I am distressed, I wouldn't really be in the frame of mind to read philosophy. Uh, I'd
Okay.
rather be in the frame of mind to talk to someone and get some advice or vent my frustration out. So I mean, as you said, maybe counselor is a very rational and ideal idea, but I'd say for me, what's worked has is exercise. So or taking up a sport or a hobby, that's worked to relieve the distress. But I wouldn't prescribe texts of heavy reading or anything like that.
Okay. So if I understand Anand's point correctly, he's saying a thinking distraction might not work. Uh,
Mhm.
is it right, Anand? Could I loosely call it that?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be left alone with my own thoughts at this point.
Yeah.
And yeah,
So in that sense, okay. Let me take it a step back and ask, uh, what is it that works for you, Anand, without this base of spirituality that Rajita speaks of, or without the base of uh, organized religion? What works for you in your times of difficulty when you are incapable of handling it? And that is the crucial part, because if you are capable of handling it, then anything works. But you've reached a point where it is not working. What would you do, and what works for you?
what works for me in case I'm incapable, my first instinct is to speak to someone about it, and someone that I trust, someone who thinks about the problem and about life the same way as I do. So that's what I do.
Okay. Um, Rajita, have you cross-questioned your own beliefs about spirituality ever, like with a deeper sense of bringing in the same sense of discomfort to yourself, or have you moved away from one easy categorization to another easy categorization for yourself, where you have a certain limited point of view about yourself and your belief, or have you thought it through? Have you cross-questioned? Has there been any process of introspection on that front?
Not really. I think about 5 years ago, I have been kind of believing that instead of believing in one entity or one god or goddess, I think that there is just one God and you can pray wherever you want to pray. And I don't think I have really changed that point of view because that also allows me to respect other people's point of view and take into account what they're saying instead of just staunchly believing in one thing and being dismissive of other points of view. So I think that's helped me, and I don't think I've really cross questioned my stance.
Okay.